Cupid, the god of love, whose golden arrows make people and even deities become filled with uncontrollable love and desire. Cupid is commonly portrayed as a winged, curly-haired, chubby baby, but Cupid's origins didn't begin this way, and with Valentine's Day approaching soon, I wanted to discuss the origins of this icon of love. Before becoming the Roman Cupid we know today, Cupid originated as Eros, the god of love in Greek mythology. Eros being the Greek word for desire, and from which the term erotic is derived. Although the origins of his birth and creation are varied, in classical tradition he is believed to be the son of the love goddess Venus and the god of war Mars. In classical Greece, Eros was akin to a sex symbol, a winged, slender but toned young adult, occasionally draped in armor or a simple cloth to emphasize his physique. He was known to be so handsome that both gods and humans would feel weak upon seeing his beauty. Cupid had two types of arrows, golden-tipped arrows to cause feelings of love, and lead-tipped arrows to cause feelings of hate, and he once used these arrows together in a mischievous and vengeful way. In one instance, Apollo, the sun god, bragged to Cupid that his bow was bigger than Cupid's. Cupid was angered by this insult, and as a result, he shot Apollo with a golden-tipped arrow, causing him to fall in love with the first person he saw, which was a nymph named Daphne. Cupid then shot Daphne with a lead-tipped arrow, causing her to be repulsed by Apollo's love. But the most famous story of Cupid is the story of Cupid and Psyche, a classic yet unique tale of overcoming obstacles for love. Psyche was a mortal princess, but a mortal seen as so perfectly beautiful in form that she was viewed as a new incarnation of the goddess Venus. She was even prayed to and given offerings. But this was no blessing. In fact, Psyche saw beauty as a curse. Potential lovers were too intimidated to approach her, and her beauty and treatment as the new Venus made the actual Venus so offended and jealous that she sent her son Cupid to shoot her with an arrow and make her fall in love with a hideous creature. When Psyche's father, the king, went to the oracle to ask for guidance from Apollo for his daughter, as she had not found love like her sisters and he feared his family may have incurred the wrath of the gods, he was told to abandon Psyche on a crag, where she would marry a serpent creature who was so horrible that even Zeus feared the creature, and the king followed these orders. But when Cupid saw Psyche alone on the crag, he was so taken by her beauty he instead used the arrow on himself, causing him to fall deeply in love with Psyche. While abandoned on the crag, Psyche felt Zephyrus, the west wind god, transport her to meet the creature she would marry. A disembodied voice guided her to meet her fated match in the darkness, as she was not allowed to see him or know his name. Although fearful, in the darkness she did not feel the scaly, monstrous serpent she expected to meet. Instead, she felt soft skin and heard his gentle voice. And despite being unable to see him, she began to look forward to their meetings every night and soon fell pregnant. But having a child with a man she had never seen weighed heavily on her, and one night she approached her sleeping husband with an oil lamp, only to see the god Cupid lying before her. In shock, she dropped her lamp, burning Cupid with hot oil. Cupid was angered by this, and admitted to Psyche he was sent by his jealous mother Venus to shoot her with an arrow so that she may be attached to a serpent monster, but he quickly fell in love with her instead. But Cupid believed gods and mortals could not love equally, so she was to never know who he was, but now that she had seen his face, their future together was ruined, and thus he flew away, abandoning the pregnant Psyche. Psyche grew sad by this, but soon heard the disembodied voice once again, only to tell her it was possible for mortals and gods to love as equals. Hopeful by this, Psyche began to roam the world in search of her lover Cupid, but Venus stopped her in her tracks and told her she could only be with Cupid if she completed a series of impossible tasks. Psyche was given 3 tasks. The first task was to sort a great pile of seeds in one night. She grew feelings of despair when she was nearly unable to finish the task, but an ant colony took pity on her and completed the task for her. The second task was far more dangerous, as Venus told Psyche to bring her fleece from a golden sheep who was known to disembowel stray wanderers. But a river god came to her aid, showing her where to collect the fleece of the golden sheep that were snagged on prickly shrubs. And the final task from Venus sent Psyche to the underworld, where she was expected to obtain a drop of beauty from Proserpina, the queen of the dead, and place it in a box for Venus. Psyche had been successful in all her tasks, but during her last task, upon her return as she approached Venus's palace, Psyche was overcome by her curiosity, and she opens Proserpina's box, hoping to keep a bit of Proserpina's beauty for herself to enhance her own beauty. But what was inside was not beauty at all. Instead, it was infernal and Stygian sleep, which sent her into a deep slumber. Cupid returned to find Psyche asleep. He awoke her and admitted his mistake of abandoning her and thinking that she could not love him equally, as her fearlessness proved her to be more than worthy of being his equal. And with the aid of Zeus, Psyche was granted immortality by drinking ambrosia, the nectar of the gods. Psyche and Cupid had a child, a daughter they called Voluptus, whose name means pleasure. The story of Cupid and Psyche inspired many works of art, both visual and literature, but it was the Hellenistic period's portrayal of Cupid being a chubby boy that led to the later inspirations of Roman art and its winged babies, known as Amours or Putti, which soon became indistinguishable from the iconography of Cupid. And Cupid's love-creating abilities were seen as a perfect fit for Valentine's Day imagery when the holiday became increasingly popular by the 18th century. It was all the more fitting given St. Valentine's Day was named after the bishop St. Valentine, who also hailed from the Roman Empire. Today, the Greek and Roman origins have given us a Cupid that represents love in all forms, and that little push we sometimes need to express our love for one another. Well, that's all for today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you so much for watching.